This place was abandoned in less than 24 hours, sealed off by Turkey for over 50 years. I crossed the buffer zone into Famagusta, Northern Cyprus, and into Varosha, a town that has lost its soul since 1974. And right now, you and I are going inside. It's 7 a.m. here in Larnaca, where we're heading off to Varosha in Famagusta, which is the ghost town. So when Turkey took over parts of Cyprus, that town in the 70s was completely abandoned within a day. And so what's happened? It's been left untouched for 50 plus years. So I want to go and see that because there are sites in there that are like, wow, takes you back to the 70s. And the bus has arrived, MTS heading over to Famagusta. So just gonna get on board. It should be about an hour and a half drive because there's a lot of pickups. That's what's the frustrating part. Other than that, I'll see you in Famagusta. This is insane. To have crossed a border inside a country, or what's known as a buffer zone, because Cyprus is split into two parts. You've got the Greek part of Cyprus, which is the southern side, and then you have the Turkish side. So the Turkish side was when Turkey invaded in 1974 and took over the northern part of Cyprus. That land, that entire buffer zone on the map you can see that black line there is huge. So I am now in the Turkish side, or the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, to visit the town of Varosha, the ghost town which has been abandoned in 1974. All the tourism used to take place in Cyprus in that specific area, and that's completely now wiped out. All the people of Varosha had left that place because you had people coming over to try and invade Cyprus, and within 24 hours that entire area became completely void and no one's been allowed to return back. They've opened up a 1 square kilometer part of that region, which I'm going into to show you what Varosha is actually like. So this is Varosha, and you can see everything literally empty. It's like a town that's lost its soul. When you have a look at the surroundings, the area itself, the terminology ghost town is reflected absolutely perfectly. When I talk about people's homes, factories, businesses, everything that people owned 51 years ago, there's still people who exist today, but just in the southern part of Cyprus. They want to come back, they want to take over what's theirs, but whenever they do try to make that attempt, they are restricted by the Turkish army in doing so. So this place ends up becoming a bit of a negotiation zone between the Turkish side and the Greek side of Cyprus, and they still yet to come to any form of agreement. So it's just going to remain abandoned. I mean, people can be really cruel. Humanity can be really cruel, and this is a living example of how cruel humanity can be. It's a shame. And that's my brother over there. Just like I took him on a history lesson in Tunisia, he is finding this absolutely a snooze fest. Ay, 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 ay. How's the history lesson, Tambir? Look at him. He wants his money back. So ahead you see a boys' school that's been abandoned, and then that being a girls' school. So I'm standing now on the Golden Beach, which has been abandoned for all these years, which stretches for 10 kilometers all the way. It's an unbelievable experience, and all of these are right in front of the beach. As you can see, hotels which have been completely abandoned. And I've just heard a story that one of these hotels was opened in June 74, just months before the invasion. How unlucky is that? Beautiful golden beach, crystal clear water, left with a soulless life of complete abandonment. Welcome to the northern part of Cyprus. How would you feel if this was you back in 74? You're enjoying your life, you're on holiday, or perhaps even living here, and all of a sudden an invasion happens and you're told to get out of this place within a couple of hours, and you've not been able to return since? Leave it in the comment section below, because I would love to hear your thoughts, because it is emotionally distressing just to even stand here and just to walk across and hear these stories. My feeling and thoughts right now, I thought like planning this trip, coming to Varosha, would be like, oh my god, wow, what an excitement to see this. But to actually be here, to see it all in front of you, in front of your eyes, like what's happened. I know there are worse things that are happening in the world, but just to be in the heart of something that has, where military takeover, where it's left the people having to move from their homes, it's an emotionally distressing feeling. And it gets you to think about how fortunate you are as a human being, wherever you are in the world, that if you do have a home, if you're still living in that home, you're in your community, you have your friends and family around you, that people here were forced out. That's sad. That hurts. So if you are planning to come to Varosha, or even just the northern side of Cyprus, or the Turkish side as it's known as, just things like even your cell phone data switches from the Cypriot side to the Turkish side, so you get charged for roaming. So you might want to be careful on those fronts. The currency as well goes from euros to lira. So it is genuinely like you are in Turkey, though only Turkey recognizes this spot in the world as Turkish owned land. The rest is still pretty much, hey, it's still Cyprus as it is. So you have to be very sort of cautious over things like roaming, things like your spending, and there's a lot of sort of restrictions in this zone, and you'll see a lot of police on scooters sort of drive by. So there's a limit to how much you can walk here, because they've only opened up in 2020 1 square kilometer. And this is because, well, 2020, the year of COVID, a lot of abandonments, businesses went down the drain. They needed money, so Turkey, Erdogan came over and opened this whole spot, 1 square kilometer, for tourism to generate money. Oh, and they needed it most. They opened it up. Otherwise, it was completely left to nobody. I'm convinced this was looted. How can this not be looted when they've completely taken and abandoned this place? So I went over to the Toyota showroom to actually see the cars. They're no longer there. So if any of you are planning to come to the ghost town here in Varosha and actually see those antique cars from the 70s, they're no longer there. I think Turkey have actually taken them over to the official Turkish land. Oh well, they're high in value, I guess. So, but did it belong to them? Questionable. So all these things that we've seen here today, it gives a reality check of where the world is currently. Like, I'm no politics guy, I don't really look into all that stuff, but when you're standing in the land itself, it just makes you question what is right and what is wrong regarding the world itself. But we've got my brother behind me who's found this a complete snooze fest. He goes, is this why you come on holiday? Is this why you come on holiday? Well, if you are someone who wants to experience a bit of the history and the challenging parts of a country, then places like Varosha really tells that story. And I think if that's what's connected you with this video, hats off to you. But if you're coming to Cyprus just to really enjoy, have a bit of fun, then perhaps places like this isn't for you. So it's your call there. I mean, I paid, how much did I pay? How much did I pay for this? 40, just over 40 pounds for this. The QR code is on the screen right now if you want to book this exact trip. So not just to coming to Varosha, but across Famagusta, Salamis, a few other spots as well we're going to. So you get to see far more greater historical parts of the northern part of Cyprus, or the Turkish side of Cyprus. Worth a shout, especially just have a look, see if that's for you. So after Varosha, I am now here in Salamis, which is the ancient town or the ancient ruins of Cyprus, where you're able to see things that were built, archaeological sites that were built in 1100 BC. Look behind me. These are unbelievable ancient rocks and stones. So we're going to do a bit of a tour around just to see what's here. I'm expecting an amphitheatre, Roman baths, a gymnasium, quite a number of things that were built back in 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Yikes, that should be a wonderful dating back to history. Ah, look what we're witnessing right now. What is this? I'm guessing this was pretty much a bit of a bathtub, wasn't it, back in those days? A bit of a careful trek as you go around this place. I've been to quite a number of sites that give this sort of impression, whether it's the Romans, whether it's the Greeks, whether whoever it was that built all of these. Quite an extraordinary site. So this takes me back to my experience in Luxor, Egypt, and also in Carthage in Tunisia. I mean, just the wondrous sites, all of these being excavated by archaeologists. I mean, these were built thousands of years ago and then obviously destroyed and then rebuilt by the Romans. Who destroyed them? The Arabs. The Arabs destroyed a lot of what was placed here during the war, and it was rebuilt in 4 AD by the Romans. But it is quite an incredible setting, like you're going from one location to another. Mind your step as you sort of walk through, but it takes you into the ruins. So we've come from the gymnasium part. There's also an amphitheatre, but I just want to show you where I'm standing because everything is just absolute beauty in stone. So that ahead there is where the gymnasium was. I'm still trying to figure out what these were. They must have been some form of bathtubs, ancient bathtubs. So when you think of this level of design, this level of material that was used back in those days, look at that, pure stone. I'm not sure what sort of stone these are, but they have survived for millenniums. Now when you think of building work that's being done these days, don't even survive 40, 50 years. So why back then did they have solid material, and now we've got paper literally building buildings? All that is a fascination. Money, money, money. Everything's about profit. Oh man, this gets my sort of blood sort of boiling because of what these stories that must have been told, the hard work, the struggle, the slavery that must have gone into building all of these things. Can you imagine the history? Like back in those days during school, I never used to pay attention to history, but when you actually get to see history right in front of your eyes, it's a whole different experience. So just ahead of me right now is a Roman amphitheatre. So we're heading over there, and I'm just going to do a quick comparison between what the feeling of being an amphitheatre here feels like here in Cyprus, in the Turkish side of Cyprus, compared to an amphitheatre that I went to in Tunisia, El Jem, which was absolutely humongous. So an amphitheatre is used back in those days, in the ancient times, for gladiatorial battles. Not when you see Thor versus Hulk, but kind of that sort of theme. Everyone in their metallic suited and booted back in those days, going in a completely me versus you, who's going to win. And then you'd have an audience sitting around, and that would be literally the whole community that lived in that specific area. Stepping inside, you can see an audience already there. This is huge. Wow, look at that. Look at that.
Second largest theatre on the island, but the largest Roman theatre.
So right now this can hold a couple of thousand people if everyone squashed together, but back in those days it could hold 15,000, if not 50,000, I've been told, because it goes up a lot into the 50 floors. So I'm going up right now, and as you know from previous videos, if you've seen my videos, my fitness level isn't the best, so I always get tired, but thankfully this isn't as high as the one in El Gem. But what a view it gives. Have a look at this. What a sensational view. I mean, if you're looking to come to Cyprus and you're a bit of a, I want to just chill, relax, feet up person, yeah, you're not making the most of a holiday. A holiday is about relaxing, but also getting to know the history of the country. So what have you made of the trip so far? Varosha and now here in Salamis. Mind you, I'm on a journey to reach 5,000 subscribers. So on the hunt to get onto 5,000 subscribers. So I can't do this without your support. So hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We've got a couple more stops to go on this trip. But just look at that. It's a sensational view, sensational experience. And I've got my brother trying to come up right now to join in on this trip. He's got me a drink. I need a bit of energy. How are you finding it? How are you finding it?
It's all right.
It's all right. That's good enough for me. Any of you watching who has a brother like my brother, yeah, give me a shout, because I want to know what you guys do to give him the holiday experience he wants, whilst also teaching him a bit of a history about the country. Freshly squeezed pomegranate juice for €2. Look at that. Very nice. So this is just a quick taste of pomegranate syrup.
Yeah, for salad.
For salad. Oh. Oh wow.
This is carob syrup for bronchitis.
For bronchitis.
Yeah.
So if you're unwell. Oh, that tastes a bit like chocolate.
Yeah. But very medicine.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very different taste. So one is a little tangy, pomegranate, and this one. Oh, this one made the second one?
Second one, carob molasses. Carob. Carob.
Carob.
Yeah.
Carob.
This is fig jam.
Fig,
Dry fig.
fig jam. Oh, this one's very quite sweet.
Yeah, jam.
Yeah, jam. So, did you made these?
Yeah, all.
Oh, wow. So, all made
Merhaba.
by this wonderful lady here.
Please.
So, if you are here at the monastery, you might want to give this a try. So, that was where the tomb was for Saint Barnabas. That's now been moved over to the monastery. So, having gone down there, it's a small place, head ducked down. It was nice to see. It reminded me very much so of going down to see the tomb of Tutankhamun in Egypt. Great place this, a great little stop. So I've now arrived in the old town of Famagusta, known as the Walled City. Why is this town very important? Well, there's a Venetian wall around it. So it was once ruled by the Venetians, but that wall was built to fight off the Ottomans, which was very interesting back in those days. But there's a lot of sculpture, there's a lot of ancient buildings here, and this part of Cyprus was really important to sort of guard off any attacks. So walking up the wall, the Venetian wall that protect Famagusta, let's have a look at what the view brings. Look at the sea over there. So when attacks in the past used to happen from the sea, this wall, which you can see going all the way this way and across that way, and there is the Othello Castle. Othello, named after one of Shakespeare's characters. What a sensational view, just to see where all the attacks potentially came from in the past, and boom, you got this wall to protect you. Famagusta, quite an experience. These are so heavy. Oh my god, you can't even lift it up, it's so heavy. And then you can see all these. So they used to load them up, put them into the cannons and shoot them out from here. So this is all against the Venetian walls that are protecting this inward land here. And this was used as part of the hub to fire out to protect, because it's right close to the sea. So any attacks, yeah, quite an interesting thing this. Oh my god, really heavy. Ugh. To even, oh my god, you can't even lift it up. Oh, now mate, trying to, how come you're lifting up easy, man? Hey, have a look at this beautiful square here. It is absolutely amazing. And then you have the cathedral just over my shoulder over there, which has been converted into a mosque. So all of this inside the Venetian walls of this old town. So I'm going to take a bit of a break because I'm absolutely starving. It's 1 p.m. It's been a long day, haven't had any lunch, very light breakfast. So going to fuel myself up and then going to explore Famagusta to see exactly what it has to offer. Here at the Zantani restaurant, 10 euros, just all of that. I'm saying just as in like, I mean all of that. That's a lot of food. I asked for a bit of everything. I mean, you had all sorts of pies, all sorts of meatballs, vegetables, sauces, salads, everything, whatever you can throw at me, I had. Some were really nice, some okay, could improve with a bit of extra flavor and salt. But for 10 euros, absolutely worth it, because yesterday I paid what? 15 euros for 5 slightly overcooked lamb chops and chips and salads. So you do get your money's worth here. So right behind me is the Cathedral of St. Nicholas, and that's now been converted into a mosque when this side became the Turkish side of Cyprus. So it's now called the Lala Mustafa Mosque. What's fascinating is you can see the minaret over there, and this one on this side was destroyed because it only needs one. So with the mosque just there, or previously known as a cathedral, you have the Venetian palace. This is where the rulings used to take place from, this palace. But you can see it doesn't quite feel like a palace, does it? So this Venetian palace was destroyed by the Ottomans at the point of when they came over to rule. And you can see, as I walk inside, a palace that has its charm and beauty, but is no longer quite a palace. Ah, this used to be my granddad's favorite word. Dur. So a bit of a Medina here, shopping. So I'm guessing if you're going into any of these shops, you will need to bargain. Negotiation is the key to success. Very much is like mainland Turkey. So all of these stuff are sold at quite a low price. There you can see the Othello Castle, which is closed off at the moment, so public are not allowed to enter, but you can get the visual sight of it just from standing right where I am right now, and it's an easy walk. Famagusta, the old town, is a very small town, so you can walk the town in pretty much 15, 20, 30 minutes in the pace you want to walk. The food is absolutely wonderful, but it reminds me of a bit of Monastir and a bit of London with the Tower of London there. If you haven't seen my Monastir video or Tower of London videos, both the links are included above. You'll be able to see that. But this brings to an end what has been a wonderful experience of the northern part of Cyprus, the Turkish part of Cyprus. And that for me has been a bit of an eye-opener in the sense that it's been ruled for over 50 years here in Cyprus. A lot of it has been completely changed in what it used to be, the image it once had, but the beauty still remains in a lot of part except for Varosha. That ghost town for me was both an emotional experience but also quite an eye-opener just to see exactly what that place actually means, because a lot of Cypriot people who have left that town still talk about it, still want to come back, but politics has come in the way. So if you want to come and experience that, the QR code is on the screen right now. You'll be able to scan the QR code and book your slot if you are coming to Cyprus to experience the ghost town. You do need to bring your passport because you are effectively crossing over to another country. So it's the check-in for the ID on the Cypriot side and also the Turkish side. So they do double checks. That has been quite an incredible experience. I hope you enjoyed this trip. My Cyprus trip doesn't end here. I've got more tours I'm doing across the country. More importantly, the cultural side, the village side, the parts of Cyprus that you don't get to often see. And that's where my next trip will be. So join me on my next video. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. Hit that notification bell so my next Cyprus video hits you straight from the get-go. So I'll see you on my next video. Next time on Sabirul on the Move, I take a drive in a 4x4, experience a waterfall in the Troodos Mountains, and tell others I don't drink. Click here to watch my full Troodos Mountain experience.